Hey guys, we just got back from DCEU's latest film, but not last film, that's Aquaman, The Flash, starring everyone's favorite Ezra Miller. So this project was somewhat controversial and doomed, and then redoomed, and then undoomed, and then redoomed, and doomed.
Someone needs to keep him on check.
Yeah, that, and then also James Gunn coming in and resetting the DCEU. It's like, what's the point? But then reviews started rolling in, and everybody loved it. They said it was the best, and even Tom Cruise got in and said, I called the directors, that was amazing, and all this other stuff. So the hype definitely went to the stratosphere. So it's out now for the general public. I'm a huge fan of the old DCEU, and they're. You know what? I'm gonna go last. I'm gonna go last
You're
on
last?
this one. Yeah, I'm gonna go last.
Last.
Well, here's what I'll say. Right up front, it is better than I thought it would be. There are, as far as the DCEU goes, the tone is kind of all over the place. It starts goofy as fuck. The CGI is really bad.
Yes.
This entire film. But there were surprising moments once it gets going, kind of in the second act. I've never really felt a film where the second act is its strongest. Like the first is a little weak, and then the third is weak with the CGI fest. But this is kind of an example of that film. So I actually ultimately liked it in closing of the DCEU. So quick, that was mine. What did you guys think?
I liked it. Separating Ezra Miller as a person.
Yeah, we can
He's
talk
shit.
about that in the spoiler section.
But this was pretty good. I had a good time with it. It started off, like you said, a little bit weird. For me, Ezra was sometimes kind of annoying. He was gonna get to me.
He was definitely annoying.
Yeah, and then like we said in the trailers as well, the CGI is like hopefully they could kind of touch it up. They didn't. It still looked kind of bad. Third act was kind of. I was gonna be disappointed if they kind of did what. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yep.
What they would kind of originally were doing, but then it kind of started picking up some steam.
Yeah.
I like some of the surprises.
Yeah.
But it was overall, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
I think what really holds this film up is the classic Batman, Michael
does.
Keaton. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, there's some of the elements of the Flash work too, but it definitely helps things that Michael Keaton.
You needed a break from him from time to
From
time. It's like,
Ezra.
all right, look,
You
this is
can't-
enough.
yeah.
Let's just
Two
change
and
the
a half
tone.
hours of
Yes,
Ezra.
exactly.
Alex, what did you think?
I thought it was okay. I think that the member berries are sweet and delicious, and there's wonderful Easter eggs hidden
Yes.
all over this thing. But when I look at like what this movie,
yes, there's a few
there's a
cameos
couple.
that kind of were. I really liked, but ended up kind of cringy in execution. We'll talk about those in spoilers.
yeah, there's just like what this movie was trying to do. Which was a lot of things all at once. The movie's just a fucking mess, and there's some wonderful parts of this movie. Hearing Danny Elfman's theme anytime Michael Keaton's doing his thing,
So we needed
it's
another
just
God, I love that.
there's so many fucking weird, awkward parts that are clearly filmed just for like trailer purposes. And I don't know. I liked it better than I thought it was. I don't dislike this movie at all.
Yeah.
I think it is. I can probably say this movie's pretty good. But I don't.
Andy Muschietti is the director. He previously did Mama, It Chapter 2, and then
That
on
one
to
sucked.
Flash. And then it was screenplay by Christina Hodson, only one person. She did Bumblebee and Birds of Prey. Oh. But honestly, I guess it's one of the better installments. I think Ezra as an actor and as Flash does the job of this fast-talking, awkward, quirky Barry, and it works in that sense. A lot of things didn't work, and for example, Idris, Idra West. What's the girl's name? I forget.
I forgot.
His love interest. His love interest is really, I don't know. It just doesn't feel. It feels forced. I did like some of the twists at the end.
Yeah, Iris West.
Iris West. Now the opening involves so much CGI and that awkward ass run. He's still running. By the way, they do make a fun of that run, and I really appreciated that joke. It was an in-joke at how ridiculous the run is. By the way, nobody changes lanes, apparently, when they drive their cars because he just runs in a line and everything. I guess
He's running in the middle.
in
It's
that
fine. It's
oh,
fine.
in that
In the middle.
instance, everybody there's not a single person on planet Earth that turned left
No.
and is in the middle of turning
He
left.
beat them.
Okay,
He beat them. They're at a standstill.
nobody's already doing it. Okay, anyways, it just the CGI is really bad. He's fucking putting babies in microwaves, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is so goofy, so cringy.
The babies look scary.
And
If you look at
they
their
look
faces,
really bad. And the Speed Force effect, at first, I think it looks goofy. But then when he creates this chrono bubble to get what we get with this film, that looked cool, except for copious amounts of CGI once again.
did not like it.
And it looked bad. It looked awful. We're getting cameos from actors, and then even, actors that are in the film. Michael Shannon, that could have literally just filmed in live action, but no, they created CGI of his face, and it looks bad. And it takes me out of the film. And it feels more like a cartoon at times.
Yes.
Okay. So before I go on my Superman rant, let's hear more from you guys.
No, I'm in the same boat because I hated that. I was like, this looks cheesy. Like, what is this? I've seen games with better cutscenes and like better CGI. Like, this just took me out. And again, hammering on with Ezra Miller, like he gets knowing. It's like, hey, let's get two of them. It's like both of them at the same time. It's like, man, it was too much.
But yet you liked the film.
I did because of Batman, and I
Okay.
actually liked Supergirl.
Uh-huh.
I think
She
she was
actually-
fine.
Yeah.
She was fine. She wasn't. I was expecting maybe a little bit more from her, but they kind of the way that they wrote the character and the backstory changes a little bit, and I didn't get what I was looking for from that character because it's supposed
Take her or leave her. She did well enough.
She did
kinda
well, yeah.
thing.
And then I think that's kind of what the whole movie kind of did. It's like, okay, you kind of told this time travel story where butterfly effect, you're changing things. You did well enough there. The humor was kind of there. You did okay there. The Batman stuff was great. But it's like, how much credit can I give you for using the score from a movie from the 90s that I loved as a kid? Like, it's just like, I can't give them that much credit for stuff like that. So I think that they were successful. I was expecting to not like this movie at all. Especially with, Tom Cruise. I had to call it's like, oh, how much is the studio of like funding your other projects for shit like this? I don't think that anyone who's like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, they're all full of shit. This is a fine movie, and I think you could do a lot worse in the DCEU. So I think they did okay.
Yes, and if you enjoyed this movie, you really need to check out Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox, a DC animated film, which takes elements of this and remixes it.
Probably better.
In the animation,
Always.
it's Bruce Wayne's father that's Batman in this alternate universe. Here, it's Michael Keaton's Batman, so you can tell that there's some cool things in here. Some great. So there's a lot of bad visual effects. But occasionally there'll be some good-looking effects, especially all the slow-mo when you gets hit with lightning, that kind of stuff. That looks great. And it just blows me away how it goes from bad to good. And yeah, so we do get cameos from pretty much,
Spoilers.
I will talk about that in spoilers.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say at the end
I
stuff,
want to
but
go. Yeah, I guess I
can't.
want to. It
No,
makes
don't
okay.
do it. Don't
it makes
do
me
it.
mad, but we'll keep it to ourselves.
Yes.
I understand. Listen, I understand why there's Supergirl in this film rather than Superman. It makes sense in the context of this. That doesn't really upset me, but the way certain things unfold kind of does. So.
Final verdicts, getting the juicy bits.
Yeah, we did just already. Okay.
There's
but
not a lot we could really talk about. So, yeah, we
Yeah.
talked about the.
Yeah. So we covered the fact that Michael Keaton, Ezra Miller, they're killing it.
Yes.
I even really felt some emotion between him and his mother. I think his mother character was great. The decisions that he has to make in the film have gravity to them and emotional resonance. Even though you're right, Joe, that the two Flashes, the two Ezra Millers were really annoying, there at least was an arc, for them, and I actually liked it. I kind of, felt some emotion there as well. So I think that that's what raises and elevates this film is some emotional resonance, some great parts and great performances, and an otherwise CGI fest that has some cool action bits here and there. But it's, yeah. It's interesting. Now, so yeah, let's go to final verdicts then.
Again, we kind of glossed over Ben Affleck's Batman in the beginning. He didn't really get
right, and
he didn't much to do.
Much to do, so he's there as well. He was fine
He
for
was there.
his cameo.
He was there.
That's very nice. He was there.
He was there.
President.
Pretty sure he didn't want to be there though. Isn't he done with this?
Yeah, he's like, I want to make my own Batman movie. Oh, fuck off, and he's gone.
You want to go ahead?
I'm gonna give this movie. I don't know if I want to give it a 6 or a 7. I was trying to decide. I was gonna decide when OJ was telling me, but I think this movie is above average. I think that the reason that I'm not feeling as strongly as some people have said that they like this movie is the member berries are wonderful, and I love seeing them, and the Easter eggs are great, but the plot, the important things about the movie, like the story, some of the battles, some of the other things were just kind of sloppily thrown together and almost poorly done. And so while I'm going to remember some of the weird reveals that they do, like the core of the movie isn't as strong as I would have liked. So I think I'm going to give The Flash a 6. I think it's an above average movie. I don't think you maybe need to like rush out and see it right away, but if you're looking for like an action-y thing, this weekend, you could do worse.
Mine's gonna be a 7. I liked it a little bit better than you did. Same reasons as well, but like we just saw Spider-Man across the universe, or like into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That one little timeline. It's like I gotta save everyone. I felt like
Right.
there was more emotion on that one.
Oh yeah,
As opposed to this one, there was still emotion here.
yeah, still
But
some
like not as
much as
not as much as that other one. So I felt like the stakes were higher in this one. And again, a lot of his stuff was just like member berries. Like, oh, this is pretty cool to see. But even sometimes when you see it, you're like, whoa, I don't want to see this. This looks fucking terrible. Let's get out of this zone.
Yeah.
I hate this zone. It's like kind of throwing me out. But I still enjoyed it. So 7 for me, a little bit higher.
I'm also gonna go with a 7 out of 10. I think it's solid. I think it's a good DCEU film. This is like the 13th in that franchise. How are there so many? It doesn't feel like there's that many, but like,
If you're at it,
It's better than Wonder Woman
Prey,
84
Birds,
or something.
and then-
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's right. So
Way
a lot of this kind
better.
of stuff. So yeah, I ended up liking the character of Barry Allen more. And that's what you want, especially in somewhat of a superhero origin. Now, the superhero origin didn't quite work for me. I've seen Barry Allen's in animation, that origin story, multiple times. I think
annoying.
people will like it even more seeing it for the first time. It's depicted well enough that it gets executed well. Have you seen what they did there? Okay. All right. Well, 7 out of 10, verse 6. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so I thought it's well enough. It's something that you can go out and see and have fun. But, there's 2 films that we saw recently that it's like, the bits are better in these. Like we saw Extraction 2 on Netflix. Way better action. We saw, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse right before. Way better emotional resonance
And everything
and
else.
characters, essentially, inside characters and things. So, but for the DCEU, grading on a curve, this was well done. So whether James Gunn retains Ezra Miller in the future, the film sort of can stand on its own and then have Ezra not continue. but it could also bring him into the new DCU with the subject matter here, jumping between, you know, different times and multiverses and all that bullshit. So there is potential for a future if the film does well, I think is what they're waiting, because they've even, as of 2022, they wrote a sequel. So we'll see if that ever, you know, gets picked up. So 7 out of 10 for The Flash, but there's lots to talk about in the spoiler section. So join us there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Hey guys, welcome to the spoiler section. They did my boy Henry dirty. He has surprised. I actually didn't expect. I thought they were gonna wipe his whole presence. We're never gonna see Superman. They're never gonna mention Superman because it just seems like WB fucking hates Superman and hates Henry. Okay, you see him for a fraction of a second. I'd say 5 seconds on a TV news story. He's flying around helping a volcano out, but you never see his face.
UCCG version of him.
Now, and I'm getting there. That's when they did him dirty, because we're doing all this CGI bullshit, and he looks terrible. You know, you got the hairy chest, Joe. Did you go...
No, because it looked bad.
Because it looked bad, right?
Just
Like all that shit in the Speed Force chrono bubble looks bad. So they say, hey, we don't hate Henry because here he is in CGI. So it's not just his stash that's CGI'd out, it's his whole body that's CGI'd out.
I would have rather them, instead of doing that, just use the old clips. Just like kind of use the old clips.
Yeah,
as opposed to...
You can't. You literally, you can't. Like, you know you can't, because everything else looks so terrible. They'd be like, oh, that's what it actually looks like. It's like you can't have one thing look good.
There was a way to do it differently. This was a stylistic choice, and I think it was wrong, because you could have done it differently. You could have filmed it. You could have took old clips for Henry if you don't want to bring him back. Notice that I said they did Henry dirty. They did somebody even dirtier. Who?
Worse than Henry?
Yep.
Are you
Sir, not even appearing in the film because he was fighting with the studios.
Yeah. I can only remember his name. Ray Stevens? No, not Ray Stevenson.
Cyborg.
Yeah.
Cyborg is not even appearing in the film. They don't even put a picture of him in the damn thing.
They just put a title. Breaking records.
They mentioned friendly Terminator at one point, stuff like that. So obviously, maybe you're expecting me to rant on Supergirl instead of Superman. How dare this woman take over for Henry? And that's not what I'm about, because I do like Supergirl. They laid some of these hints even in Man of Steel. There's an empty pod and stuff, and I think, you know, Zack Snyder wanted to do stuff with it, and we kind of get somewhat of a resolution to that here. She is sent to protect him. A lot of people are like, this is bullshit. Why the fuck could she fight better than Henry? The first time she just comes into action and she's just fighting and she beats them all up because Henry got his ass kicked, right? And then he kind of had to learn on the job. And yeah, I can see a little bit of that point, but at the same time, if you're sent as a protector, you don't know. Maybe she got training back on Krypton, and she is a fighter like that. So there's ways to explain that away. I'm not concerned. I think Sasha does a great job as Supergirl, and I bought her, except for the times that she turned into a really bad CGI effect and, you know, was throwing people around. But other than that... She doesn't really factor in as much. She doesn't have a presence of Henry, you know, as an actress. Like, she's there.
But it doesn't make you gasp.
It doesn't make you gasp, or it doesn't have that majesty, I think. They do one scene where she lifts Flash into the sky that's kind of visually cool, but I couldn't get it out of my head. I said, well, wait a minute. You just flew over to the battle scene, right, with Zod. By the way, it was very kind of Zod to just wait, you know, and just allow all this other stuff to happen.
He knows there's no danger.
Right. Well, he did say you have this many hours to return. So anyways, they come out. She watches this battle play out, and then she just comes back. And I guess that is still in her character because she's like, I'm Kryptonian, I don't care about humans. I wasn't raised by it. So it actually fits in with her character. It's just awkward. So she flies up and
felt
recharges
like a little
him.
Rush, but
Yeah, her parts are a little rushed.
No, why should I save
thought
you?
maybe a little more. Maybe that's just the super fan in me wanting to see more Supergirl, Superman, whatever gender. I wanted to see more of that, and we didn't get too much of that.
No, you got none of it. I mean, she's an asshole. She's like, I'm going to let all you human beings die. I'm going to fucking live here. It's going to be Krypton. It's going to be great. Why would I save you? And it's like, well, we just saved you. We could have left you in
the same way. He's not Kryptonian.
She's kind of
to
a
you.
rogue. She's
Yeah.
not. She doesn't represent the
There's
suit.
people like in Earth that are like Zod. They're pieces of shit.
Yeah, and then but she turns on a dime and then
Yeah.
comes back, and I'm gonna do all this saving stuff, and then the movie just kind of just ends for her because there's a fixed point
That's
in time
a little
thing.
awkward, right?
And-
I expected some kind of follow up.
Nothing. So it's like that's what I was expecting. It's like, look, if you're gonna have Superman be this thing where the whole movie is driving up to like we have to get Superman. It's like it's a hugely important thing. It's like 2 whole acts we have to find Superman, and then they're like, okay, we found Supergirl. We're just gonna
Yeah.
move on. We're gonna move
Move
on
on
to
because
something
we're recasting her in the DCEU.
Did.
yeah, it's like okay.
And first Latina Supergirl, she did great, but get out of here is what I think James Gunn is going to say. Anyways, moving on now. So the cringy cameos. Look, I'm a huge original Superman fan. I think everybody thinks the original Supergirl film is fucking awful. But it's cool to see them to get. I like the idea. I like the concept that as Barry is trying to go back in time to save his mom and fix things, and then he brings in another Barry who is younger and more brash, and he's going to try even harder to fix things and starts to unravel things, and universes are crashing together, and we're seeing different universes. Oh, my God. Christopher Reeve is in the film, and I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect the other one.
I
wanted
wanted
to
get
see-
there. Let's go one at a
Okay,
time.
I know. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Shut up.
He looked terrible.
They all did.
Go ahead.
They all did.
I wanted to see Ben Affleck. Like I wanted to see Ben Affleck's portrayal of Superman. That would have been
Yeah.
so great. Just have him like back there somewhere. But him in the outfit. And then the big one, one of your favorites,
That's right.
the
You want me
shiny
to go ahead?
in its shiny glory. You wanna?
Nicholas.
So, Christopher's in the film, but it looks bad. And I love the sentiment. I love the concept. I love the respect paid to the character. They're looking up. They're like, okay, this is some threat we got to take care of. But because of that CGI, it looks bad. And I'm thinking in my head, how else could we have done it? We could have peered into a universe, a newspaper could have dropped, and it could have been an actual image of the actor and the actress, and it would have looked more natural. But to actually resurrect them, obviously he passed away, and it just doesn't come. You have to land it perfect for it to work, and they didn't land it perfect. Next, we go to a very bizarro-looking world, a dark Tim Burton-esque thing. Motherfucking Superman is fighting a mechanical spider, so that actually kind of plays into Jay and Silent Bob a little bit. Kevin Smith's, stories about Superman, about this guy wanting Superman to fight spiders and polar bears and stuff. And then plus Tim Burton's version of Superman was going to be wacky. It was going to be crazy. It was going to be
fight Brainiac.
Yeah. And I think this spider is a spider Brainiac.
That's what I was thinking.
And it's cool, but it is entirely in CGI. It is a cartoon, essentially. It might as well have just fucking done it in pencil or motherfucking cartoon animation and just say, hey, that multiverse is in animation or something. But no, they wanted to feature Nicolas Cage himself. And it's like, well, motherfucker, Nicolas Cage would have suited up if you asked him to. And I think they were just like, no, we need to do this quickly. We're going to ask the actor permission to use his likeness. And Nicolas was like, yes. So in one sense, it is a dream realized. Nicolas is a friend of the show. We've known him a long time here. And he's named his son after Superman. He's always wanted to play Superman. He has finally realized his dream. He called me up. He was crying. And then you see it on screen. And it doesn't look good.
Yeah, watching these scenes, you're supposed to be like, oh, this is amazing. This is what I want to see. But I'm like, this looks funny.
Terrible.
Like,
It's terrible.
that's not the reaction you are going for.
And it's really cool because the idea, the director, Andy, was like, if I was in charge of The Flash, I would use that opportunity too. I can peer in multiverses. God damn it, I'm going to realize Nicolas Cage as Superman, Tim Burton's Superman. And he does it. But the talent wasn't there in the CGI. Or you could have just filmed it in live action, done the fight in CGI, then wipe from a rock, and then just do an actual Nicolas Cage turning around. That would have been a little bit better. But to show his face in CGI with the CGI teeth, it just really weird. Anyways,
Then we get some Batman, the Adam West one. Then we got old school Flash.
black and white
and white
Superman, George.
Superman.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit in there. And then let's just Flash. So we do get a George Clooney Batman as well.
Yes.
That's at the end of the film. And he's like, goes back to his universe. He thinks everything's good. He's fixed things because the young brash Flash has saved. The hero is Barry, but not the Barry that we thought. It was the young brash 18-year-old Barry who sacrifices his life because he notices he became a huge dick. I guess he became Zoom, Dr. whatever, and they never mention the guy's name. He's just Evil Flash. So Evil Flash decides to try to kill original Flash, and 18-year-old Flash jumps in the way, takes the bullet. So he dies. And then Flash is able to return. And he's like, I'm going to fix things. And he goes to court. And this footage has been given to him. And the footage shows his dad, which unfortunately kept his head down and was not exonerated because everybody thinks the dad killed the mom. This time, the dad looks up. And I think it's because Barry put the goddamn tomatoes on the top. And he's like, hey, and then he's exonerated. His dad is released, and so everybody's happy, and they're walking out, and Bruce Wayne calls him up, and he sounds different instantly, but he doesn't notice. And he gets out of the car, and it's George Clooney, and he realizes, oh, shit, I'm in the wrong universe. So I guess that brings up many questions. Number one, I like seeing George Clooney, and they do a little thing there. He's not in the suit, but he is definitely Bruce Wayne.
Bat card, bat nipples, bat card, yeah.
Should bring out his card, yeah. Man.
So Robin's in it too, then, right? Chris O'Donnell.
In that universe somewhere, yeah. Alicia Silverstone too is back girl. I like that idea. It just, okay. So, but then that brings up questions because, so does he actually exonerate his dad in his current timeline or in the original timeline? We don't really know. He clearly did it in George Clooney's timeline. Is he going to do it again in that? Or maybe because he does that, that actually fucks with it, and that's why he ends up in George's again. He's like, fuck, I can't do that. None of that is shown, but at the very end of the credits, we have quite possibly the most pointless fucking ends credit screen I have ever seen. Alex, what happens? Does this set up the DCEU? Is it an epic cameo? What is it?
It is an epic cameo because Jason Momoa is there. Don't
It's
forget
gotta get you hyped
that
for
we got it. He still have that will be the last thing that we see, and he probably coming back. So it's important that you remember who Jason Momoa is, and he's drunk. And Barry can't get drunk because his metabolism is too high. And then they wander through the streets, and Jason Momoa's like, here, I'm going to give you this ring. Go trade this for some beer.
Well, first he falls,
in a
and
puddle.
then he
Yeah,
falls
like,
in a puddle, and he's like, I
This
live
is
here.
I
And that's
live
the joke. He's tapping the water. I live
Go
here.
get more beer.
And go get more beer.
Here, take this.
And then it ends. And then it's pretty great. Oh, and I met
That was the worst. He does tell, yeah.
He's like, I met other. He's like, so you're saying there's a bunch of different Batmans? He's like, yeah. He's like, but Aquamans are all pretty much the same. They're all like you and furry and big and yeah, it's pretty much like you. And then
I think he meant like an Aquaman dog, yeah. Or maybe he just meant that he's big and hairy. I don't fucking know. It's
that's what I thought
pointless.
too.
Sea
He
dog.
just,
I thought it was a dog.
Yeah.
Aqua dog. Anyways, okay.
don't stay.
So
for
that's
it. Just go.
what-
Just leave.
Just go. Don't stay for it. It's really
Watch it
bad.
somewhere
It's
else.
actually embarrassing for fucking Jason Momoa and the Aquaman character. If that's how Aquaman character is left, then fuck him. We'll move on to Lobo. and we'll recast Jason as something else in the DCU. I don't know if they plan to retain Ezra Miller and all of his bullshit antics. How long is this guy going to behave? If WB is smart, they jettison him. Okay? He did his job. He did a great job as Flash, but that is a wild card that if you're talking about billion-dollar franchises, these aren't making
There's
$1 billion.
no way that James Gunn, because he's like under such a microscope right now, seeing like, and this has to be a success. Like,
Yeah.
this big offshoot. You
Now,
cannot.
if this makes $1 billion, do you think they keep Ezra?
No,
No.
Not even if it makes $1 billion.
no, I don't think so.
Because Aquaman made $1 billion. There's no way this is making $1 billion, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's making $1 billion. I can see this being successful, but I just don't think it's worth the risk. If you're trying to, he hasn't even started his new reboot universe yet. You cannot have someone who has a known problem potentially lurking.
Fuck
You can't
everything up. And hopefully James is smart enough. Don't do it. Sorry, Ezra, you had your chance and you fucked it up.
Yeah,
you
well,
done fucked it.
There's other options. I mean, you could have like Conor McGregor. He seems like a better person to do it right now. There's all sorts of.
Oh yeah,
I was trying to
he
think,
was
who-
great in
who-
the
like
What a deep
NBA.
Well, it's relevant. Relevant.
Yes.
Okay, relevant.
He just did something?
You have two
Yes.
things. And it's just
Crazy,
like, look,
crazy
if you
stuff.
know that
Anyways.
someone is crazy, do not put them in your universe that's budding because it will get canceled.
Yeah, so I thought Ben Affleck did a good job, but again, CGI makes all of the Batman action look bad and awkward. They do get lassoed to truth. Gal Gadot gets to play Wonder Woman for one last time. She gets a significant cameo. We know somewhere it exists. Henry Cavill's footage exists somewhere. They filmed it. Then they cut it. And it makes me so angry. I thought I was going to get through this without a rant. But it makes me so angry to know that we will never see it. And WB just absolutely hates the guy for some reason. And at least they had to pay respect to him and CGI, and they fucked that up. But it's like, just retain it. If you're rebooting everything, just fucking retain it. Maybe they were like, how about we make this deal with you, Henry? On your contract, it said you appeared this many more times. We'll just say this is your appearance. We'll call it even. Let's leave. You know what I mean? It's like, but what the fuck happened? Why does everybody else get respect except for Henry? I know the cyborg as well.
He needs to be crazy.
I just don't
like
get
Ezra.
it. Right.
He needs to be
so
crazy.
that's what I've been saying, Joe. And I was gonna Ezra gets to go around slapping and choking women and doing all these
Henry's
weird
over there painting
little
his,
kid
he's just
stuff. What
painting
the
his
fuck?
models. just
And
minding
Henry
his own
is
business.
painting Warhammer, playing with miniatures like I do every
fuck
day.
outta here,
And he's like,
Henry.
no, fuck out of here. He's like, gonna wear the suit. Henry, yeah, you get to wear the suit again. Oh, man, that's great. Now get the fuck out. Wait, what? You're playing with the man's heart. You're playing with my heart. It's just bullshit. So you know what? Fuck it. Fuck this whole universe. Reboot the whole goddamn thing.
Well, it makes
pisses
sense
me
because
off.
this the one with Zod, everyone was meant to die. That universe is destroyed, basically. That planet.
There's a fixed point.
So let's
Michael
talk
Keaton,
let's talk about that.
dies, Supergirl dies, and I was gonna get mad if he ran in circles like Superman did in, I forgot which one it was, to save. He's like, I'm gonna fix
right.
this. It's like, no, don't do that. That's kind of like a cheap cop out.
Right. He doesn't do that. He does it a billion times. He gets old, turns into a massive supervillain, and approaches it multiple times trying to fix it. So that universe is supposed to die.
Yes.
It sucks because that's Michael Keaton's universe. So,
It's one of many Michael Keaton universes. You
he
don't
gets
know.
a battle. Okay, we'll get there because in the sequel, it's written that they were going to bring back Michael Keaton and Sasha. And I was like, how are they going to do that? So that way. Anyways, because they die. The first way Batman dies, he tries to take on the bigger ship and notices shields, and then he gets blown up. And then
He's never seen Independence Day. You know,
Nah,
they always have shields.
Don't shoot that
They always
green
have
shit at me.
shields.
Right. Then the next time he tries to take on the Bruiser, which, by the way, Zora is here. Zara? I never get her name right. She's not Ursa. She's the Ursa replacement in The Man of Steel. And it was really cool to see her because I liked her, and I like it when she's in there.
And she gets her throat slit pretty violently.
Yeah. So, Feora. Yeah. Anyways, that was cool to see her, but they covered the face of the Brute. They didn't need that actor. So that Brute has a Batman fight. he puts a bunch of bombs on him. I'm like, oh fuck, man, Batman's gonna die because these bombs ain't gonna do nothing to the Kryptonian. So he does get him in the back of the head, and it is assumed that he does actually get him. I guess.
Well, he dies, so he gets right back up after he gets his head blown up.
Does he?
Yeah, and then the Flashes do their both Flash
That's how he gets
powers.
his
Oh,
first-
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, they
Blade.
shock the shit out of him.
But he coughs up blood, and then he dies in the Flash's arms. So that was just meant to die. And he's like, well, I'll bring you back. He's like, you already have. And that's cool. It's a good emotional moment. And Michael Keaton was a great part of the film. Great addition. Really buoyed it. All the parts where they go to the Batcave, and he's this old man, and he's using kitchen materials to beat up the Ezras, except for one Flash has Flash powers. And it's like, yeah, that would be Flash's reaction to old man Tim Burton, Bruce Wayne. Just some great stuff. And Bruce decides to help, even though he's fucking pushing 60, 70. And you can see it. He's like getting beat up and bleeding. And he's like, this is going to hurt. And then he goes and beats everybody his ass, as a Batman should. A bunch of Russians, I guess, who captured her in the winter and was experimenting on Sasha's Supergirl. Break her out. Once she gets into the sun, then she does the CGI thing, beats them all up.
Yeah.
And the suit is all right. Not as cool as Henry's, but it mimics the design. And it turns out that Kal-El is dead in this universe.
Everyone's dead.
Henry is dead in this universe. And it was because Zod intercepted the pod, and he fucking killed the baby, trying to extract the DNA. Realized DNA is not the DNA he needs. He needs the DNA from Sasha, and in order to restart Krypton on Earth. So that's how.
Michael Shannon was horribly wasted. I felt bad, because they completely abandoned this whole Supergirl Zod point, because that's actually not the point of the movie. I understand it's a Flash movie, and the whole like multiverses crashing together is actually the point.
An amazing
but
actor.
you bring Michael Shannon back, and he just has presence, and then he has like one good fight,
2 moments.
But it's like I wanted more time with him, just monologuing and beating the shit out of someone or doing something. Like give him one scene where he just kind of steals it, and he just didn't get it.
Yeah, I'd rather take that over that CGI dome.
Oh, it's terrible. The dome, everything in the Chrono Dome was awful. Yeah. I just did not like it.
Yeah.
Another
we covered everything.
Another thing, though, we did get the Joker, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Joker bag.
That was great.
Yeah.
Hey, he's like, this bag is laughing.
I was like, yes.
It was pretty amazing.
He
Yeah.
kept it. He kept it.
He
Michael
kept it,
Keaton
and
kept
it's still laughing.
Damn it, I don't want Michael Keaton's Batman to die, and I don't want his
don't.
universe
I
to die.
don't.
But the end of the film implies that it's over.
It's meant to.
What I originally wanted, year ago when they announced that this was going to happen, the rumors that Keaton was going to come back, I thought that we were doing Batman Beyond, where we go to a different universe where Michael Keaton's like, look, I can't be Batman anymore. Gotham isn't the utopia. I need someone young. And so we got Nightwing. So it's possible that we could still kind of get the shit that we wanted. I just don't think that we're getting a sequel, actually. So.
Nope. You find somebody to play Terry.
Anybody else? You guys agree with me on Mrs. West? Do you think she was a good addition? She just kind of seems like she's thrown in as a love interest because she's in the comics.
She was just thrown in there. Like, I honestly forgot about it.
Totally wasted.
Yeah. At the beginning of the film, and
really
at the end
need
of the film, it's like, let's go on a date.
Yeah.
You could have just had somebody else move that.
Yeah.
Like, move that along.
There's so
just
there's-
change some time.
Why put it in there if you can't put any time into it? Just don't do it.
There's so much stuff that we wanted to cover in this movie, and you put time into like major characters. Like we don't have time for the love interest stuff. Like the dad can mention, "Hey, you dating anyone?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm not dating anyone." And that's all that you need. You can pay respect to the comics that way, and we don't have to take scenes away from major comic characters.
I know the Flash is fast, but how did he? When the guy was making his sandwich, he flew. He went, and then he did all this stuff. And then he comes back, and the sandwich is finally made. I'm like, that's not how that works.
It's
because
humor.
you went to another battle, and it was a battle, and that was in real time, and now you went over here. Anyways.
Yeah.
I did like...
Not as bad as Mobius. Not as bad as a lot of these. Oh, go ahead.
I did like how they did... they kind of changed the timeline, of course, with Back to the Future.
Oh yeah,
It wasn't Marty.
Stoltz,
it wasn't.
Yeah,
it was
who
Stoltz.
actually was the
Yes.
original.
That was like,
If y'all are wondering, why did they choose some random guy? It's not a random guy.
They
He
did some
actually
tests. Yeah.
yeah, and
It was
then
good.
Kevin Bacon is Maverick, and like they move all sorts of shit around. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
I thought that was cool. The guy had his tattoo. It was like,
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah. His friend, it's like Barry's
It's
friends.
another
are
little
weird.
Easter egg.
You don't need to bring them.
Great
back.
Easter eggs, great nostalgia, but you can't
Remember,
build.
berries are strong.
Yes.
You just can't
and-
build an entire movie around them.
And with the weak CGI and CGI fests, like, and I'd much rather have physical, practical effects and
Yes.
battles in the final acts than these crazy things. I understand you want to show the superheroes at their super level powers, and you can do that. Just mix in a little bit more practical. Hell, even Zack Snyder got that right. Anyways, that is it for the DCEU. No,
Two more.
one more, because James is now owning Blue Beetle, and he's
Oh.
saying this is the first DCU.
Oh
area.
no,
I didn't like the
really?
trailer.
I'm not sure
I didn't
why
like
he's
the
doing
trailer.
that. Why is he throwing his hat in there? He doesn't need to do that, but maybe he's seen it and he's like, I like this enough. I'm going to own it.
The trailers do not look
It
good.
does
We
not.
watched it again,
It
and I was
does
like,
not.
that does not look like a good movie. So
maybe
I
we're wrong.
don't. I
Hopefully
hope
we're
so.
wrong,
Hope
but-
so. Otherwise, this universe is in trouble.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for this one. So, yeah, you're safe to go out and watch this one if you'd like. It's entertaining enough. It's just weird that it's gone. Goodbye, Ezra. Goodbye, DCEU. Oh, we
he's
got
here to
one
stay.
more. All right.
He's here to stay.
No, he's not. Please, no. If that motherfucker stays and Henry has to leave and Gal Gadot has to leave and Ben Affleck if this motherfucker is the only motherfucker that stays, I'm fucking out.
Momoa's staying.
I'll take Mo. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain about that. As Lobo. All right, guys, that's it. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.
Guys.